she thought her cat was just distant. He ignored her during the day, complained at closed doors, bit during petting, then curled up beside her at night like nothing had happened. It took her a long time to realize the problem was not that her cat was impossible to understand. It was that she had been taught the wrong story about what cats mean when they reach, retreat, wait, rub, and pull away. Some of the biggest lies people still believe about cats do not sound cruel. They sound normal. They sound like common sense. Cats are independent. Cats do not really need much emotionally. If they walk away, they are rejecting you. If they bite, they turned on you. If they come close at night, they are only using you for warmth. But those beliefs do not just make people misunderstand cats. They make people answer trust with the wrong response. And that is where the damage starts. Not in one dramatic moment, not in some obvious act of betrayal. It happens quietly, inside ordinary home rituals. The bathroom door closes. The cat waits outside and gets laughed at. The cat rubs against your legs when you get home and gets brushed off. The cat pulls away during petting and gets called moody. The cat stays nearby without touching and gets labeled cold. Over time, the cat does not stop caring. It just stops offering the same softness as freely. Because here's the truth most owners miss. A lot of feline behavior that looks distant, strange, or inconvenient is actually built around trust, regulation, scent, routine, and emotional safety. So when people respond to those signals as if they mean nothing, the bond does not usually break all at once. It gets thinner, a little less open, a little less easy, a little more careful. And some of the most common lies about cats are exactly what causes that shift. So let's go through the biggest ones people still believe and what they are missing about the cat in front of them. This lie sits underneath almost everything else. People hear that cats are independent and assume that means emotionally self-contained, that they do not build their inner world around you the way dogs might, that they do not care as deeply about predictability, safety, or the emotional tone of the home. But many cats do. They track your routines. They notice which room you are in. They know what time you wake up, when the lights go off, when the bathroom door closes, when you sit down to work, when you leave, and when you come back. They may not show dependence in a loud way, but they absolutely build expectations around your presence. And when a cat builds emotional security around your rhythm, inconsistency starts to matter. Not because the cat is dramatic, because the cat is trying to understand what kind of world they are living in today. So the first lie is not just inaccurate, it makes owners underestimate how much their behavior shapes the cat's sense of safety. This is one of the most damaging ones because it turns regulation into rejection. A lot of cats do not show love through constant physical closeness. They show it through nearby presence, quiet following, sleeping close instead of on top of you, watching from the doorway, entering the room after it gets calm, coming close only when they know they can leave again without pressure. That is not emotional absence. That is often careful trust. Sensitive cats especially do this. They stay connected, but they manage the intensity of contact. The problem starts when owners take that personally. They think, if my cat really loved me, they would sit on me all the time. So they reach more, hold more, insist more, test more. And suddenly, affection stops feeling safe. The cat is not learning, my person wants to bond with me. The cat is learning, closeness comes with demands. This lie destroys understanding because it treats a boundary like betrayal. For many cats, a petting bite is not a random switch from love to aggression. It is the end of a buildup the human did not notice in time. The cat was already speaking, skin twitching, ears shifting, tail tension, a harder stare, a pause in the body, a tiny stillness before the mouth. But owners often miss all of that and only react to the bite. Then they get offended. But from the cat's point of view, the message was never, "I suddenly hate you." The message was, "This stopped feeling good before you realized it." That matters, because a cat that gives a warning is still trying to stay in relationship with you. A cat that wanted no relationship at all would often avoid the contact sooner, leave the area, or stop coming close in the first place. So when you punish or shame the cat for that moment, you teach them something dangerous. Telling the truth about discomfort is not safe here. And once a cat learns that, they often become harder to read, not easier. It sounds harmless to say this, but it changes the whole emotional meaning of the behavior. A cat following you to the bathroom, waiting outside a door, or reacting when access is blocked is not always just boredom. It can be about territory, predictability, scent, routine, and inclusion. You are part of the home's emotional map now. So when you disappear behind a closed door, your cat is not always thinking, "Entertain me." Sometimes they are thinking, "Why am I suddenly outside something important?" Closed doors interrupt visibility and access. They break the flow of shared space. And for some cats, they also interrupt a ritual they use to stay connected to you. So when owners laugh it off as clinginess, shut the door harder, or dismiss the protest completely, they may be rejecting a real bid for connection without realizing it. By the way, what does your cat do more often? Wait quietly outside the door, paw underneath it, or cry until you come out? That pattern says a lot about whether your cat is seeking access, reassurance, or just inclusion. Warmth can be part of it, but this lie misses the emotional conditions of night. At night, you are quieter, slower, more predictable, less likely to stand up suddenly, pick them up, call them over, or interrupt the moment. The house softens. The territory feels smaller. And for many cats, that is when closeness becomes emotionally affordable. So the cat who stays distant in daylight may come to your bed after dark not because they suddenly need heat, but because this is the first moment trust feels easier than caution. That is not shallow affection. That can be one of the clearest signs of trust your cat knows how to give. Especially in sensitive cats, nighttime closeness often means, "I can finally lower my guard here." And that is much deeper than people think. They are cute. But they are not just cute. Those rituals are also about scent, belonging, and emotional inclusion. When your cat rubs against your legs after you come home, they are often doing more than greeting you. They are restoring familiarity. You walked in carrying outside smells, outside energy, the emotional residue of somewhere else. Your cat responds by bringing you back into the chemistry of home. And that is part of why pushing them away too often lands harder than owners realize. To you, it may feel like a tiny interruption. To the cat, it may feel like a small, failed moment of reconnection. No, one brushed-off rub is not going to ruin the relationship. But repeated enough, these tiny misses can teach a cat that their bids for closeness do not really land with you. Yes, cats can adapt, but that does not mean routine is unimportant. Routine is one of the ways cats measure safety. Not because they are boring, but because stable patterns make the territory readable. They know when you wake up, when you feed them, when you leave, when you settle into bed, when the house gets noisy, when it gets quiet. And inside those rhythms, they decide when to approach, when to rest, when to ask, when to observe, and when to soften. When owners become inconsistent in how they touch, respond, allow access, welcome closeness, or react to bids for contact, the cat notices. Maybe not in a dramatic way, but in a relational way. They adapt by becoming more careful. And that is what makes all these lies so powerful. Each one sounds small. Each one sounds normal. Each one sounds like the kind of thing people say without thinking. But together, they quietly teach a cat that closeness can come with pressure, unpredictability, dismissal, or misunderstanding. And that is why so many loving owners end up with cats who still care deeply, but show it more carefully than they used to. The good news is that this can change, because once you stop believing the wrong story, you start answering your cat differently. You stop reading space as rejection. You stop reading boundaries as betrayal. You stop reading nighttime affection as convenience. You stop reading following behavior as neediness. You stop reading scent rituals as meaningless. And you stop treating routine like something only humans care about. And when that happens, the bond often starts healing in the exact same ordinary moments where it was being misunderstood. So maybe the real question is not, why is my cat so hard to read? Maybe it is, what lies have I been taught about cats that made me miss what mine was trying to say all along? If you want to better understand what your cat is really trying to tell you about trust, love, and safety, subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, tell me which one of these lies you used to believe most, and which one changed the way you see your cat.